If I left, then it ain't lost us. And you tell your friends and they call your friends. Baby, never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind.
Hey, my next video is going to be more so about electromagnetic energies and those type of things, but I need to hit on something real quick. That's why this is being recorded in the car. Typically can't do videos until like Monday, but so I want to explain something. The difference between a light worker and a Christian. Does anybody know what that is? I'm sure you have a lot to say on that. Okay, the truth is there is no difference between a light worker and a Christian. It's the avenues in which is taken to the higher self, to the finished product, to the finalization, the complete. It's the avenue you take there. Okay, so a lot of people, you know, are posting videos, numerous people, and they're working from the light worker's perspective, and they're saying, you are nothing but energy. The demons you see are lower levels of energy that are on a lower frequency dimension. Sorry about that. And dang, my phone's blowing up. And if you are not vibrating on that frequency, you won't live or see that per se. Okay, so the higher frequency levels to a light worker. Okay, so the lower frequency levels would be demons. And so to a light worker, they would tell you it's energy, negative energy, dark energy, and the angelic or the pure light presence. Christians would say angels or heavenly spirits, and light workers would say high frequency energy. Okay, so these all are the very same thing. There's no difference in what we tell you. It's just different avenues. And this is how I know, because I've spent my whole life as a child with a gift of astral projection, and I've been experiencing these, and I've had to live out these experiences in order to get where I'm at today. So I can stand here and tell you, yes, I've seen demons. Yes, I've seen good things. I deliver it because I deliver it this way because that's how I've experienced it. Okay, so I have the gift of knowing the same thing, which is the doctrine, the science behind religion. Okay, so there is a truth to everything a light worker says, which is actually a breakdown. It's a science breakdown of what exactly you're seeing. Okay, so when you astral project, you know, a lucid dream could be that you are just experiencing this moment in the mind. Okay, so you're actually still in body. A lucid dream, you're still in body, you don't see your travel. And when you get there, you're able to bring information back because you're tapping into the conscious mind. Okay, so the difference between a lucid dream and an astral projection is in an astral projection, you're actually exploring. You're actually leaving the body and you're exploring. Okay, so there's different energies when you get out there. So in the space-time continuum, which is located in space, you can access many different time frames of your life. And, you know, Christians don't want to look at that. And so not only do you have issues with, okay, when I deliver something, it's in a Christian perspective instead of the science-based perspective. And what happens is light workers are saying, wait, you're getting fooled, you know? So no, I'm not, because, okay, I have many friends that are light workers. I am a light worker, okay? So I have to deliver it how I learned it. And so a lot of people aren't going to be tuning in to a light worker station, especially Christians. They're not going to tune into something they feel is unholy, or if it's causing disturbances, because, okay, they have read this book and this doesn't set well with their belief system. So the avenues that some people carry with, let's get into the science of what exactly is happening, is not capable to be understood by normal people that are still in the learning process of awakening. And so when I deliver something, I have to literally deliver it in a way that I was able to learn it, in the way I had to go about it, because even myself would not have been okay with just taking it to this, to skip out the religion that I've once, you know, been told for so long of how to access this, and jump into the science behind it, okay? So another problem with this is Christians, you know, if I have any Christians watching, I hope I do, because this is targeting you guys, because the deal is like you, the Bible really doesn't speak about past lives and reincarnation. Okay, this is very real. And so I know this. The Lightworkers know this. However, Christians sometimes will say, ooh, okay, first of all, we're not supposed to, a lot of people believe that you don't resurrect until God pulls you from the graves. Okay, this just simply ain't true. So I even have Christians that are scared of me because I'm telling you I can actually project and communicate with other beings. So in my avenue of approach, you know, I just simply deliver it the way that I had lived it. And the way that I did live it as a 13-year-old up until this day, I've had to experience different situations, scenarios, you know. So emotions is what causes your reality, okay? Both in the physical and the non-physical world. So if my emotion is very negative, if I'm sad, angry, anything on a lower level would cause a frequency within me to be the same as any other lower frequency around me, and it would cause me to see more of that frequency in my daily life. So I would be surrounding myself with more people that were still on a low frequency level and that I could relate with, because you are a reflection of who you are around. Okay, with that, you look at this in the spiritual Christianity side of it. Okay, so when you're messing with lower energy, manifestations can happen. Okay, so these manifestations is exactly what the Christians would call demons, ghosts, lost souls. Okay, so they're the same thing. It's just being delivered in a different way. So then we go higher up to the angel presence and stuff, you know, and it's a big deal when I bring up Jesus to a lot of people. Okay, but I get the fact that I want to make it clear that Jesus is who I go to get to heaven and to communicate with God. But light workers, they will communicate through the light and go directly to God. Because it's all of the mind. It's all of the higher conscious of the mind. If they don't believe they don't need Jesus, then they can seek God and still get the same information without having to use the avenue that I have to use. But my belief system is firm in the fact that I feel safe and protected. I do see Jesus. I have called on him. So in my last videos, Jesus, okay, to the light workers, Jesus would just merely be a soul guide. And so that is causing issues with delivering the same message to people. So I want to make it clear that it doesn't matter what avenue you choose to take. Okay, so as long as your mind frequency is where it needs to be, then you're going to go where you need to go. Okay, so when I told you in that last video I went to heaven, ooh, there was a wreck. Look at that tire. You see that tire just rolling? Look at that. That is sad. Look at this guy. Whew, bad day. Thought I was watching enough to see that coming. See, that's what I'm talking about. That was good. That. Whew. Anyway, this is what I'm saying to you. I am trying to tell you that. Okay, so you can't disqualify one or attack another when you're delivering the same message. And I'm not trying to tell you I've been attacked. I'm telling you that I've had many people who try to deliver this in their approach. And you know what? I love listening to it because it helps me open up. Okay, so there's some things that another light worker might tell me and it's like, oh, wait a second, you know, that makes sense to why. You know, there's a lot of things that don't make sense to you when you're just living in the astral world, or when you're astral projecting. You can't always make sense. You come back with so much knowledge and you're like, what does this mean? Okay, so for instance, I was astral traveling and I went to year 2065. In 2065, they were showing me that the worlds were colliding. So in my opinion of this observation, the first thing I thought was, our world could end in 2065. However, their world there in 2065 was a lot different than our world, okay? So basically they communicated with frequencies. They had the knowledge of what we're trying to teach you all right now. What we're trying to teach you guys is exactly the knowledge that they possessed in 2065. There was no cell phones. There was, I'll do a video on my little experience. You know, these are interdimension experiences. So this is the problem though. When I get on here and I tell a story, okay, and for instance, Jesus, I went to heaven, you know, I'm going to tell you exactly what I saw because that's how I seen it. I can't, you know, I'm not going to revise it and say, I was entered by this energy of white and I went to the presence of God. You know, I'm telling you exactly how I got there. I'm telling you who I call on to help me, because my telling you is going to help another person, because we are not all the same. We're not delivered in the same way. The important common bond here is to realize that we are pushing the same information. Exactly. So, and I do seek Lightworkers information quite often. I have a good friend of mine. He's been a Lightworker all of his life pretty much, and I go to him and I'm like, can you make sense of this? Because I don't understand if I can manifest and if I could create and if I don't have any negativity, then why am I experiencing this type of situation, and what has caused this manifestation? Okay, I'm not doing videos like this for you guys because I'm bringing it to you the way I experience it, and so I have to that's just how I have to deliver it. Now here in next year, you know, if I learn something or if I change my mind frame or I lean towards another idea, I'm going to let you know, because that's just how we do. We're honest, right? But I have to tell you how I've seen it, and I have to tell you how I've got to this point. And so there's reasons for that. There's different situations with these. Okay, I'm gonna come from a Christian view. Okay, so a Christian view would say, don't dabble, right? And I don't like to dabble, but you know, I just travel because my mind's obviously in there. My mind is so like asking and seeking knowledge that it just goes. Okay, so but I say don't dabble because it causes some confusion, and it's like this. Okay, if I was to stay at a Christian-based religion, what that's trying to tell me is they're to separate good from bad, to be more of the good, and then you will be delivered. You know, and that's pretty much, I mean, honestly, that's pretty much what the hell it's trying to tell you. Okay, so, and it goes by situations for the people that don't really get it. Like, it's explaining, okay? So when the Bible says to you, you know, not even Jesus knows when the world's going to end, it's because he don't. It's God, okay? So God didn't tell Jesus when the world's going to end. Jesus made powerful movements on his earth while he was here alive, and in my opinion is the reason why we have life to this day. But to the light worker, it might not be to them the same as it is to me, but it doesn't matter, because we're still working on the same God. We're still getting delivered to the same person. And so the confusion is, you know, I see fights within, and I'm not talking just personally, you know, if I watch a video or anything, I see Christians oftentimes targeting light workers. You'll see videos, I've seen a black man hiding under a freaking table and he's thinking the world's gonna end. And he's thinking the world's gonna end because sorry, I was looking. He's thinking the world's gonna end because he thinks the light workers are sent from the demons, okay? And that he says there's 144 ones, you know, that are from Christians, and they're here to save the world. And the other 144 is the devil's, you know, the devil's people, and he considers them being light workers. And you know, that is not the approach you take this right now, because I'm telling you now, there is like, I couldn't tell you how many. I mean, to say 20,000, that would be a small amount. There's like literally half the globe who knows what's going on, because everybody's been awakened. So I don't care how they got there. We're all still going to the same place. We're creating a movement, and it's originating It's planting a seed. Well, the seed's done been planted. The propel of the frequency of the movement that's been started is already happening. And I see sometimes, you know, outsiders will target Christianity, like, you know, because light workers are talking science of Christianity and they have truth. You know what I'm saying? And then Christians are scared of light workers, thinking they're not true because they're not going through a certain pathway. To realize that when I was a little girl, about 13, I was on a lower vibration, living in a very heavy, dark, negative, haunted house. Okay, so my grandma had passed away and it was her house, so I was still there because my mom was there. So I slept one night and I called on my grandma because, you know, she died. We were very close. I thought, you know what, I'm going to call on my grandma. If I have to be in the spiritual realm of things, I'm going to ask to see someone I love. And when I did, my grandma came to me and she was walking very slow, and it was a shaky movement. It was a very slow frequency movement. And I thought, my first thought at 13 was, oh my gosh, my grandma, she didn't make it to heaven. And then I stood there and I knew better, because I know my grandma in this physical life, and there's no way in hell she went to hell. You know what I'm saying? And so I stood at this and I looked at her and I said, you are not my grandma. I know you're not my grandma. And that thing friggin', her head caught on fire and it melted to ashes. Okay, so that was a trick of a manifestation. That was, and it wasn't my manifestation. It was by me. I was living in a dark environment anyhow. So when I asked for my grandma, something out there had played a trick on me. Okay, so these are dark manifestations. That's why I tell you guys, be careful when you go to a psychic. Make sure you go to a real one, because what you're getting fed may not be who you think it is. You know, when a psychic can connect to your mind and know what you're thinking, it draws information. He draws information from that. And so people can, basically, they can be fooled. You have to really know what you're seeing out there in order to know, is this a spirit of, is this a frequency of someone I know? Or is this a manifestation of a fear? Or is this a manifestation of anxiety? Or you know, there's different things. Now in the Christian community, they'll say you are a being, but you have spirits that attach you, and that's how I presented the last video. And the spirits that attach you could be spirit of addiction, spirit of negativity, spirit of anger. Okay, so these are the two flip-flops, which is a complete mimic of the truth anyway, because it's just a different pathway to the delivering of the doctrine of truth. Let me teach you to let you know that what you see is what you believe. Well, he's right, because when I'm traveling in the astral plane and I'm at a lower frequency in the mind, I see lower frequency entities. Just like in real life, if I was on a lower frequency dimension in this physical world, in the mind, I'm going to surround myself with a bunch of drug addicts and people that are violent. Okay, so it's all the same damn thing, is what I'm telling you. I have chose this avenue because I believe it, and it sets well with me. Okay, so even though I might not have the same avenue in my approach of delivery as someone else, I'm still speaking, and they're still speaking the same truth in different directions. Now, what has helped me with Lightworkers is, you know, I have been opened up to the fact that I've seen myself in different lives. Okay, so in 2004, I was in Arizona. Okay, well, in 2004, in this physical world right now, I was in Indiana. And I seen myself in Arizona in 2004. Now, how can I make sense of that? That was a past life. That means in 2004, I had more than one self living. Okay? I am consciously aware of this self, because this is my base. This is where I'm making a movement. This is where I'm called to make a change. In 2019, in this life, I am called to take a directional approach, and I assume I chose here because of the awakening. Because by me raising, this is my base right here. Okay, so if I was to die in a light worker's perspective, you just veer off. If I just die, I'm going to go straight to another dimension of life according to what frequency I'm on. So there's I gotta watch the road, sorry. There's many avenues of approach, okay? So I know that rings true. Because if I die and I'm on a lower frequency, I'm gonna reincarnate, okay? If I die and I'm on a mediocre frequency, I'm gonna go to a higher dimension reality. If I die and I'm right with God, if I'm one with all within myself of pure love, then I go to heaven. Then I go to our God. I go to the light. It's all the same. So I want you guys to really know that when I do delivering speeches, this ain't a speech, this is actually just a YouTube channel, you know? But when I'm trying to tell you my experiences, somebody else's might be completely different, but it's the same. Christians don't fear light workers, and light workers don't try so hard to convince Christians of the beliefs, okay? So if you really want to help the world, I ask you to approach a Christian, and I'm not talking about myself because I don't need that, but I'm asking you, if you have a Christian loved one in your life, bring it to them in a way they're going to understand and not have fear, because causing fear is just going to cause more issues, and you don't want that. So deliver it in a way that is going to set well within their belief system, and regardless of how you get there, you rise in awareness, you rise the conscious thought and the conscious mind, and that's what is so important right now. We are on a mission to, in my opinion, obviously we're changing things, okay? So a lot of people use their consciousness in everyday life, okay? You'll see artists come up with amazing paintings because they've used their consciousness to manifest this beautiful art. Or singers and musicians, they use their consciousness, they get in their flow state, and they deliver this amazing performance that it cannot be replicated because they're coming from a conscious level. It's a flow state. And I love being in a flow state. I play music, and I also paint, and I paint for a living. So I understand that your conscious mind will appear in your work no matter what you do. And I'm talking the reflection of this physical life. I'm not talking about afterlife. Now, in the afterlife, your consciousness will affect where you go, it will affect where you need to learn. You'll pick up where you left off. So the goal is to learn now in this base life. I have many lives going on at one time. That's the Lightworkers perspective, and it's true, okay? Those lives are an autopilot. This is my life because I'm awake here. Now, when my body sleeps here, then I'm able to access all them other lives that I'm currently in, because they're all ran at the very same time. And until I grab myself and in my completeness, until all of my journeys are completed, I'll keep living. And so the goal is, let's stop living. Let's stop jumping through the universe, through these timelines. And when I say there's something higher than the universe, is because there is. And when you get to heaven, you're done. You don't have, you could come here if you want, but most likely you ain't going to want to, because you already completed your mission. You've already learned what is necessary to continue. So every day in this base life, I'm learning. And so every day in this base life, all of my souls that are on autopilot are still catching up and learning because of this movement here. So this is where it is most important for me to be, and that's why I'm here. It's important not to live too far on that side all the time, because we have to sustain a balance within this body. So this human body has to be grounded. And I'm not talking just chakra alignments. I'm talking, never mind, I'm not even going to go there. I'm talking just, you have to have a sense of reality. You can't just live on that side, because yeah, we're trying to make a movement, but don't get lost in it, because we have to be here to deliver it. That's the purpose, and it is a big purpose. In 2065, I noticed that people were living with less electricity. They were communicating telepathically. They could read frequencies by touching another hand. I could tell you a lot about 2065. They actually told me that I was their teacher. What did I take from that? I took this. I'm not singleized when they say I was their teacher. I'm a movement. I'm part of a movement. Okay, so it's not just me, it's my cousin, it's every light worker, it's everyone that's raised their vibrational frequency is creating a movement of change, because if we don't, the world will self-destruct. Our goal here in 2019 and to move forward from now is to bring a balance. Our frequency is off. The Earth's frequency is off. And I mean, you'll get light workers who tell me, okay, here we go again. Okay, no. You can't tell me that, because I'm not going to skip realities to make a change. I'm staying right here where I'm at in 2019, and I'm going to tell you, I don't want to skip and live in 2065. I don't want to live anymore as far as skipping timelines. I want to go straight to heaven. Therefore, this reality, there's a movement, and all of us will be delivered when we exhaust this movement. When we exhaust this life, we're going to be delivered to where we need to go, because we've worked for that. And it's important to understand that I pretty much have to stay grounded into this reality in order not to get lost or to time jump. You know, light workers will say you could die today. This dimension on this frequency, they're going to grieve for you, but you're still living in another one and life goes on. Well, it does. That's how it works. Christians would say you're absolutely insane. It doesn't work like that. Believe in God. Okay, the point is, Christians are skipping all these other bits of knowledge to keep sanity, but they're only looking for, let me live a certain way, you know what I'm saying, and to get to God. And some Christians have been successful in that. Some Christians, ministers, can be successful with only going through their avenue. But I can't hide the fact that I know the universal science, because I am a light worker, and you know, I was born into this. But you don't wake up with the kind of knowledge I have, you know, and the light workers as well. You know, the amount of information from the astral plane is unprecedented. You can't even describe it. You got people reading books about the shit. We're coming back with a year's worth of information in 2 hours. So we can't deliver it in this type of manner. We could write books, we can do whatever, we can do these videos, but we have to kind of slow it down a little bit and go through steps instead of just, you know, you got other light workers tuning into your frequency stuff, right? Well, let's talk about the ones that need it for the religion. We need to focus on the people that really need it. And so I don't have all the answers or the right, you know, the right things to say for everybody to be in agreement. And that's not my purpose. My purpose is to deliver, and that's what I've been doing. And I do appreciate the opinions, like I said, because there was a time when I thought the world was going to end in 2019. And, you know, I thought, how did I see 2065 if the world ended in 2019? Okay, no, this is the deal. Nobody really knows when the world's going to end. That's why Jesus didn't know when the world's going to end. It's when we when we self-will ourselves out of balance of frequency and harmony, then we have self-destruction. You'll see negative frequencies in a person destruct them to the point where they are addicted to stuff, or they commit suicide, or they become angry and they start killing people. These are negative self-destruction, and in aura imaging you would consider this red. Okay, the Earth right now, pull this up on the map and do an aura imaging of gravity of the Earth. You're going to see that the Earth's in the red. This means the Earth is off balance and it's self-destructing itself. Okay, so we have to bring harmony to the planet. Literally. Okay, so then you take a picture from the astral view of space from NASA. They take a picture, an aura imaging infrared picture, and they see that the Earth is red. What's this mean? Our electromagnetic energy is not flowing the way it should. So we got to sustain balance. This goes beyond the mind, body, and spirit. It goes into the fact that everything you see is electromagnetic energy. And in heaven, you don't have to worry about disturbances, so everything flows. Well, on Earth, everything's not flowing. There's fights, there's arguments, there's technology that's blowing holes in places. I don't know if you know what CERN is, look it up. You know, HARP. These are technologies, and in the Christianity, you know, religion, they're saying, you know, that it's causing the end of the world. But the light workers know too that the elites is the friggin' enemy. Okay, they're not okay with us. However, I don't post a lot of videos on that. Why would I want to promote negativity? That's not what I'm about. I'm trying to tell you that we have issues in our planet. So in 2065, it shows me that, hey, if we do make it to 2065, it's because we've brought a harmony and balance to our planet. Okay, we're in 2019 now because we choose to make the change. We have to bring reality to people about other conscious thoughts, states, and minds. We have to teach people that this is the only life that isn't functioning on they're using the brain as the ego, and they can't get to spiritual because the brain and the ego is all they know. So we have to break that down and teach deliverance. Years ago, they used to think that the earth was governed on metals, wood, things like that. Okay, then there was scientists that came and, you know, got in the picture and said, hey, there's oxygen. We need oxygen. They realized it's a gas. It's a combustible gas. Okay, we need it to sustain life. You know, before that, they didn't even know there was oxygen. So now we have to tell the world and introduce the thought of oxygen. Okay, so we have oxygen, and those are the Wicca elements, you know, in the Wicca religion, which is the elements of earth. So water, fire, air. So those elements that once were changed, okay, and they were backed by science. So now Lightworkers are going to be introducing the fact that they can back by science. The astrophysics is the governing of the psychic mind, but also it also governs the body. So we're talking about the body is made of electromagnetic energy, just as well as the brain itself is electromagnetic energy, just as well as the earth is, just as well as space, just as well as heavens. Everything's a frequency. And when this gets delivered to people, they're going to understand that the world is out of frequency. This is causing disturbances in space, the alignments in space. They're talking about a rotational flip. Okay, well, I've heard other people say people that are pushing rotational flips are completely insane. No, they're not. Okay, it's not a conspiracy theory. I'm scared the world's going to end. I don't give a shit if the world ends, because guess what? I've lived many lives. I'm going to live a motherfucking another one. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. And I guess I'm aggressive because it's frustrating the fact that, you know, just because I speak on a religion of Christianity, that it seems like I don't know what I'm talking about. I definitely know what I'm talking about. And so it's like you have to understand that it's not a conspiracy theory. You know, we make a change. We are here to support a movement. 2065 exists in another reality because we made this change. It has to happen. We have to introduce the doctrine of truth. And so if we was not to make this movement and become successful, then 2019 could self-destruct. We could end in fire. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens when your frequency is off? Destruction. You have too much positive energy, and it vibrates the hell out of your body, and it blows out somewhere. Just like, think about touching a light pool of electricity. If you touch it, you're going to get surged with the amount of kind of positivity of electricity, which is a positively charged electricity. It's going to grab a hold of you. It's going to send a frequency through your body and blow out somewhere. It's going to blow out in your head because it has to have a port. Just like your amp in your car, it has to have a positive wire and a negative ground. Okay, so there, to keep the harmony sustained in a frequency, it has to have a positive and a negative. That's why we on earth see good and bad. That's why our body systems have the root chakra and the crown chakra. There's ways to look at it no matter what you're talking about, no matter what aspect you come from it. So we got the good energy and the bad energy, the high frequency energy, the low frequency energy. Regardless, there's movement. Once an action is always followed, an action is always followed by a both positive reaction and a negative reaction. This is why I couldn't just hold that electrical wire outside and think that I'm just going to hold it and I'm going to be fine. No, I'm going to die, right? Because it's going to surge. So it's going to, the positive reaction of the vibration is now going to surge out of me somewhere, and that's going to cause destruction, which in that case would be death. Okay, same thing happens with many situations in health, blah blah blah. I can get into that, and I will. I'm trying to tell you that you have to sustain a balance of harmony in order to sustain life in every direction you look. So these things I'm telling you is electromagnetic energy, but you have to, you don't want to tweak out and simply exhaust yourself and blow a hole in your body. Not literally, that won't happen, but it will. You will short circuit. You'll begin twitching. You begin to have neuromuscular disorders. I have it in my feet. I have patience with it. I know what's up. So you have to find the balance, okay? So when you're traveling and you're pushing all this positivity, this reaction can, if you go too far, or what the case is, if you do it too much, it's going to cause issues within the physical body. The earth is the same way. okay? Everything breathes and lives in the same energy forms. You know, you could live at the higher end of positivity or the lower end of negativity, self-destruction. Regardless, you have two reactions in every action. So it's so important for you to understand that it's not this isn't something that's just brought to awaken the world for no reason. You know, at 13 I couldn't speak this. Now I can, because everybody's awoke. And in the awakening, I have awoke to further knowledge, because now I don't look at it just like I'm experiencing demons or angels. I understand the difference, okay? And so that's something that I can't, and you Lightworkers won't either be able to explain it, because just like when I seen my grandma, who was a manifestation of an emotion in which she wasn't real, I have seen my grandma real in the higher frequencies. And I know she was real, and it was the inner dimension in which I had seen her in that moment. So I can't deliver that, just as you won't really be able to deliver that to everyone, okay? But you have to distinguish what is a true spirit and what is not a true spirit, and what houses that spirit, what causes that spirit to manifest. And that's the main thing, you know, for somebody that's functioning on a higher level like us, is we got to realize that, you know, we're all talking spiritual. You know, we're not just talking lower level manifestations. There's a spiritual aspect to this. So regardless of what you can't always tell somebody they didn't see a spirit. And you can't always say this was just a manifestation of self, because it's not always. Especially in the higher realms, you don't have to worry about negative manifestations. They don't exist. You know, there's different forms of reality, and in some realities it doesn't even have this. Okay, so when you get into the higher realities, you're talking about nothing but a spiritual being of energy, a light being, an energy of positivity, or as Christians would say, an angelic presence. Okay, so I don't mean to be so like boisterous with this, but it's frustrating when somebody don't understand what I'm trying to say, and especially when I do like listening to the information and that others present to me, because it kind of helps dissect some things. I really wanted to put this out there before I start into the electromagnetic energy, because that's important. You guys are going to have no clue what I'm talking about when I come on here talking about electromagnetic energy. And, you know, I just wanted to let you know what's up. So I'll be back on here next week with that. And I hope you guys all enjoy. Don't leave just because you think that I'm stuck on one religion, which, and I do want to end this by saying I will never stop communicating through Jesus. You'll never stop hearing stories about me and my travels through Jesus. And that's because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to change my own adventures in the astral plane or in the heavenly planes just because it needs to fit the science of things. I'm going to tell you exactly how I seen it. And truth be known, that is my belief system. So yes, I know that the science of it, as we just covered, but you know, I still choose to willfully seek through Jesus. Some people seek through Buddha. Some people seek through Yoga Gandha. Some people seek just through themselves. You know, this is my approach. And so when Jesus comes out of my mouth, it shouldn't be something that turns you off this channel. It should be something that says, okay, well, this is her direction. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to make that clear, because I get it, okay? But I have to go in, and I want to say happy Valentine's Day, and I'm usually not so boisterous. I apologize, but it needed to get out, and I will be back with more, okay? So stay tuned. Thank you.
What if I left anything lost? So you tell your friends and they call your friends, baby, never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind. If I left anything lost,